now going to go over what you need to know about playing Texas Hold'em. I'm going to share with you some tips and secrets about some of the things I've learned over the years playing poker. First things first, we're going to be playing Texas Hold'em, which is definitely, without question, the most popular form of poker today. Now you can play Hold'em with 2 players all the way up to 22 players, but for stacked, it's going to be 9-player maximum for each table. Each player is dealt 2 cards face down. Then, 5 community cards are dealt out in the middle of the table. You use any combination of the 5 board cards and your 2 hole cards to make the best possible hand. But remember, this is Texas Hold'em. There are no wild cards, okay? Most of you are probably pretty familiar with the standard poker hands. You've heard of a full house, 4 of a kind, or even the royal flush. But many of you might not know how they stack up against each other. Well, let's start at the bottom. The lowest ranking hand would be high card, meaning ace high with no pair, maybe even king high. Of course, a queen high beats a jack high, king high beating a 10 high. The next rung up from there would be 1 pair. 2 cards of the same rank. For example, 2 9s beating 2 8s, 2 kings beating 2 7s maybe. The next highest ranking hand would be 2 pair. Now, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that 2 pair beats 1 pair. An example of 2 pair would be, 10s and 4s, maybe kings and 3s. Now, if 2 players have 2 pair, the player that wins would be the one who has the highest ranking pair in their hand. So, kings and 4s would be queens and jacks, for example. Now, if 2 players both have the same kings in their hand, it would go down to the second pair. So, for example, let's say I had kings and 9s, but you had kings and 7s. Well, I win, because my 9s beat your 7s. Up from there, we've got 3 of a kind, and that's pretty straightforward. 3 of a kind is also known as trips or a set. 555, 777, 999. Obviously, the higher your trips, the better your hand. The next step up from 3 of a kind would be a straight, and a straight's pretty straightforward. Basically, it's any 5 cards in a row. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The highest possible straight is ace, king, queen, jack, 10. The lowest possible straight being ace, deuce, 3, 4, 5. Now, if 2 players have a straight, the player with the highest card in their hand would win. So if I had 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and you had 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, well, you lose again. The next step up from a straight would be a flush. And all that really means is 5 cards of the same suit. You could have a 3, 4, 7, 9, and a queen, and as long as they were the same suit, well, that's a flush. Now, if 2 players both had a flush, it would come down to the highest card in the hand. So, if my highest card was an ace and I had an ace high flush, but you just had a queen high flush, well, the ace high flush would win. The next step up from a flush would be a full house, which is any combination of 3 of a kind and a pair. Now, if you're really, really lucky, you'll get 4 of a kind, which is the next highest ranking hand. 4 9s would obviously beat 4 6s. Now, this next rank of hands, you're just not going to see very often. We're talking about the straight flush. Now, the straight flush combines both the straight and the flush, meaning you'd have to have 5 cards in a row and of the same suit. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all of clubs. A step up from there is the ultimate hand, the royal flush, which again, if you get, that's pretty lucky. 10, jack, queen, king, ace, all the same suit. Okay, so there we have the hand rankings. High card, a pair, 2 pair, 3 of a kind, a straight, a flush, full house, 4 of a kind, straight flush, and of course, the royal flush. In poker, the player has several actions or plays that they can use throughout the game. You can check, fold, call, bet, or raise. A check means you're still in the hand, but you're just choosing not to bet. A fold means that you're facing a bet and you don't want to put any more money in, so you throw your hand away. A call is a bet that matches an opponent's bet. A bet means that you want to put more money into the pot. A raise means that you're facing a bet but want to put even more money in the pot. Not all of the actions are available at any given time. For example, if you're facing a bet, well, you can't check. You'd have to call, raise, or fold. Blinds are essentially forced action from the 2 players to the left of the dealer button. They're blind because they have to put them in before they look at their hole cards. The first player to the left posts what's called the small blind, which is exactly half of what the big blind would be. The player 2 to the left posts the big blind. Each other player at the table has an option of calling, raising, or folding their hand. In Hold'em, we have 4 betting rounds. One before the flop, another one after the flop, a betting round on the turn, and finally, the last betting round on the river. Once the blinds have been posted and the cards have been dealt, the first round of betting begins. Once all the players have completed the betting, the dealer will deal out the flop. There's one more round of betting, then the dealer puts out the turn card. One more round of betting, and finally, the river card. At this point, after the betting's complete, everybody who's still in the hand turns their hand face up. Whoever has the best hand wins the pot. You want to be a real player? Well, you're going to have to learn the lingo. You'll often hear the term heads up or head up play get thrown around. And basically what that means is it's down to one-on-one action, mano y mano. Okay, it's time for the showdown. All the betting's done, and it's time to show off the goods. There's nothing sweeter than being dealt the nuts. When you've got the nuts, there's no hand out there that can beat you. Now that's the stone cold nuts. It's pretty sweet when your opponents go on tilt. They give away their money and lose their cool. You don't want to be that guy going on tilt. There's nothing worse than drawing dead. Your opponent's got a monster hand, and there's not a card in the world that could save you. In Stacked, you'll be able to find both limit and no limit cash games. When you play cash games, it's all about the money. You can buy in for whatever you want, play as long as you want, and pretty much quit whenever you want.